from there. All right, there we go. It's all started. First order of business, a roll call, please.
Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Hubbard. Here. Commissioner Banton. Commissioner Boaz. Commissioner Boaz.
Present.
Commissioner Bradley.
Present.
Commissioner Garmendia.
Present.
Commissioner Young. Present. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Strawman.
Present.
Commissioner Williams.
I am seeing somebody logging back on. I'm wondering if it's Commissioner Williams, because he was on initially. We have to wait for this to connect because he is on quorum at that point. Currently, we have Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Commissioner Boaz, Commissioner Bradley, Commissioner Garmendia, Commissioner Young, Commissioner Strother, Chair, and we're waiting on the quorum, which we believe is Commissioner Williams, who was on a moment ago. I'm still showing that it's logging in.
Commissioner Williams.
Present.
There we go. We have a quorum. Welcome, sir. With that, we have a quorum with the first order of business to be expedited. We do have a public hearing today, but the first order is the approval of minutes. They have been submitted to the committee. I will accept a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Clark Hubbard, seconded by Commissioner Young. Call for vote.
Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley.
Aye.
Commissioner Garmendia.
Aye.
Commissioner Young. Aye. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Strawman.
Aye.
Motion passes with all present voting aye.
Thank you very much. To move forward with that, the minutes are approved with all voting. The next order of business is presented by Miriam. There is going to be a public hearing for this, so at the appropriate time, we'll call for that motion. If you're here for the public hearing or online for public hearing, please list your name and organization on the chat. We'll call for you at the appropriate time. If you're here to my left and your right, please sign up with Michelle if you want to make comments at that appropriate time. At this point, we'll welcome Miriam to the podium and present.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. The first item is, as the Chair described, a rezoning or a request by petition. And this is at 2009 through 11 Marconi Avenue in the Hill neighborhood. So it's one parcel. less than an acre in size, just about 3,400 square feet. And the petitioner is Mr. John D. Gregorio on behalf of Marconi Investments LLC, which is the owner of record. And the request is to rezone from its current designation of A, single-family dwelling district, to F, neighborhood commercial district. So this slide shows kind of the context in the neighborhood. This property is kind of on that commercial district in the hill on Marconi Avenue that runs between Shaw Avenue and Southwest Avenue. Next slide, please. The subject property is outlined on the slide in pink, and the petitioner's interest or plan is to consolidate that parcel outlined in pink with the 3 adjacent parcels, 2 to the north, or excuse me, 1 to the north and then 2 to the south. Consolidate all 4 of those parcels, demolish the existing residential properties to the south, so not the subject property, but the 2 adjacent residential properties to the south. And all of this with the goal of expanding the existing D. Gregorio's Italian Market grocery store, which currently exists at that corner of Daggett and Marconi Avenue. So the goal to expand that grocery store. Next slide, please. So the property, the subject property is currently zoned A, single family, so shown there in that yellow, of course. And the request to rezone it to F is to allow would allow a wide range of commercial uses, including grocery stores. You can also see that this change in zoning would allow barber and beauty shops, some uses as conditional uses, including bars and taverns, and so on, financial institutions, professional offices, and others. So really, any future commercial use of this lot, not just the grocery store that the petitioner plans to expand into this property, but any future commercial use of this lot would require a rezoning. And so you're really looking at that map, you can see that the existing warehouse property, zone A, single family, is a little bit of a, an outlier in the context of this commercial district, which is zoned primarily F, neighborhood commercial district. Next slide, please. When we look at this property in the context of this strategic land use plan, we see that it's estimated neighborhood commercial area. And of course, the intent of future land use that the SCOOP calls for in neighborhood commercial areas is commercial uses at major intersections, commercial uses primarily serving adjacent neighborhoods, both a grocery store, but also really those other commercial uses enabled by or facilitated by the zoning change, all fit very well into this intent. And so this rezoning would be very much in keeping with the intent of the strategic land use plan at this location. Next slide, please. So a quick tour of the site. You can see the subject property. This is kind of looking northwest up Marconi Avenue on the top of the slide, and on the bottom you can see D. Gregorio's Italian Market. Here we're looking southwest at that corner at the existing grocery store. Next slide, please. The image here on the top of the slide is looking up at Marconi Avenue at a little bit of the context of this part of the commercial district. And then the image at the bottom are those 2 adjacent residential properties that would be demolished as part of the grocery store's expansion. And I'll note that these also lie within a preservation review district. And so these demolitions would be subject to Cultural Resource Office review as part of that process. Next slide, please. And so we actually do have here with us Mr. John D. Gregorio, able to share more about his plans for the property, but I'll turn it back to the chair.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor. At this time, we will recognize Mr. Gregorio. If you would come to the podium and introduce yourself and state your case.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John D. Gregorio, representing D. Gregorio's Market, Italian grocery store that we've been in business since 1971, 52 years. We currently employ 30 people, young men and women. We're looking to expand our facility at Marconi Avenue and grow the business a little bit more. I'm second generation in the business. We have third generation already intact. getting ready to take over the business and keep it moving. Looking for, the rezoning of those properties so that we can do the expansion and continue to prosper in that area. We currently do about $5 million worth of business, and we look to grow that as well. I guess, just looking for your blessing so that we can move forward with the demolition of them other buildings and get this property rezoned that we currently own through Marconi Investments.
Okay. Just stand by. What happens, I go through a list of commissioners at the appropriate time. But right now, there is a call for a public hearing. So I will entertain a motion for the public hearing.
So moved, Commissioner Bradley.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bradley, seconded by Commissioner Clark Hubbard for opening public hearing. Call for vote.
Aye. Oh, I thought it was previous roll.
Hearing any objections to previous roll? Hearing no objections.
Objection.
Very good. I think Alderman Cohn's on. So with that, call for vote, please.
Alderman Cone,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley,
Aye.
Commissioner Garmendia,
Aye.
Commissioner Young. Aye. Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Estrada.
Aye.
Motion passes with all present voting aye.
Thank you very much. We have a public hearing, an open public hearing now. With that, as again, if you have asked to speak, please do so on chat.
Point of order.
Question on readiness, go ahead.
Did I hear the roll call was all present voting aye? Because I voted present, not aye.
Correction to the vote. Alderman Cohen was a present for opening the public hearing.
Okay, the motion passes with one voting present and 7 voting aye.
Thank you very much. With that, public hearing is now open and the correction to that vote. Any online do we have? Any present in the audience at this time online? 1 call for public hearing, 2 call for public hearing, 3 call for public hearing. With that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second, previous roll.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bradley, seconded by Commissioner Clark Hubbard. Call for previous roll. Any objection?
Objection.
With the objection, then we will call for vote.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley,
Aye.
Commissioner Garmendia,
Aye.
Commissioner Young. Aye. Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Chair Estrada,
Aye.
and the motion passes with all present voting aye.
Thank you very much. So the public hearing is now closed with the full, all present voting aye. With that, now this question is for the commissioners. As they know, I go through the list and I begin with Alderman Cone. Any questions for the petitioner or for staff?
No.
Was that, I just want to be sure, was that no?
I believe, Mr. Chairman, we heard.
Okay, I wasn't sure what was going on. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, any questions?
Well, of course, I have my one question I always ask. Well, first, I want to commend you, right, for 3 generations of business and staying in and choosing the city of St. Louis. So thank you. And I want to come visit the market
Please.
myself now. But of course, from my position, I'm going to ask, have you already gotten a score, talked to your alder person?
I'm sorry?
Have you talked to your alder person?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much and congratulations. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Boaz, then followed by Commissioner Bradley. Commissioner Boaz?
No questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Bradley.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Garmendia?
No questions. Congratulations.
Commissioner Young?
Yeah, thank you for your time, and I also would like to visit the market. So what should we look for when we come into the market?
Oh, you'll find everything you like.
Everything.
very helpful staff.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Take a number and everybody's treated as if they're number one.
Just coming around Christmas time, it'd be crazy.
Commissioner Williams, any questions?
No questions. Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman,
Once I get through, I'll be glad to.
Scott, are you seeing any hands raised?
Barbie? Barbie?
Mary, I'm sorry, I should have.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
I would say, my mistake, I should acknowledge, zoning administrator, Mary Hart Burton is on with us as well.
Oh, okay, I will acknowledge, go ahead, Mary, we'll acknowledge you at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to point out to the board that there should be a letter of support from Alderman Volmer in your packet.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comment? Okay, thank you very much. With that, the chair wants to recognize and congratulations on that opportunity of opening 30 people employed. Business is 71, it's good to hear. 3 generations is outstanding because we know how many times businesses fail because the children or grandchildren don't want to be part of it. 5 million in sales is always good. And the other one is that he's been open. So you can always go visit him. You don't have to wait till the new situation's open now. Exactly with that. I would ask Mary to step back to the podium, present the ask of the staff, and we'll call for vote.
Yeah, so the staff does find that the proposed rezoning request is in keeping with the strategic land use plan, and we recommend approval.
With that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Alderman Cohen.
Second. Previous one.
I call for previous roll. Any objections? Hearing no objections, it's called for previous roll, passes with no objections. Thank you very much. Again, he's open, what are the hours?
Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5:30.
And we're not calling that a business advertisement or anything, that's just informational data, that they're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30. That's no advertisement, there's no solicitation. With that, the second item is brought forth by Miriam.
Yes, so the second item here is a Chapter 99 lighting study and redevelopment plan. It's a kind of scattered sites redevelopment area in the Benton Park West, Fox Park, and Tower Brook East neighborhoods. So here is just a simple overview of the redevelopment plan submitted to us by LCRA. There are 27 scattered parcels totaling about 3 acres in these neighborhoods. Just a couple of them fall within the area covered by the Gravois Jefferson Historic Neighborhoods Plan. And the plan would provide up to 15 years of tax abatement with 10 years at 90% of the assessed value of incremental improvements, and then 5 years at 50%. No use of eminent domain. And the proposed project by the prospective developer, also here with us tonight, DeSales Community Development, is the renovation of 71 affordable housing units, all of which do exist. This would be a preservation project. Next slide, please. So this shows kind of in pink, I hope you all can see it well enough, the location of these 27 scattered site parcels in these neighborhoods, and just wanted to highlight a couple of things. The location relative to Tower Brook Park and some other assets in the surrounding area, but also that several are within walking distance of potential north side, south side Metrolink stations, which is, would be a real benefit to residents of these properties. Next slide. Looking at the Gravois Jefferson Historic Neighborhoods Plan, 4 properties are located within this plan area, but the housing section of that neighborhood plan calls for things that are very closely related to the proposed redevelopment here. So long-term housing affordability, supporting community-driven, both for and profit, owned and managed rental housing, and moderate rehabilitation as a preservation strategy. Next slide. All of these 27 properties are within neighborhood preservation area designations within the strategic land use plan. And of course, That designation calls for areas where the existing housing is preserved and augmented with new infill, and also calling for quality rehabilitation. So this proposed redevelopment supported by the redevelopment plan, very much in keeping with the intent of the strategic land use plan. Next slide. These next several slides, actually, I'm not going to go one by one here with these properties, but just kind of flip through so you can get a sense of the range of properties and their current condition and the value of the reinvestment that would be supported by this redevelopment plan. So, next slide. A mix of housing types, as you can see. Next slide. Some duplexes, some four families. Next slide. A really great range of architectural character. Next slide. Some of these properties lie within local historic districts, so the renovation would be subject to appropriate review through those processes. Next slide. Next slide. And next slide. And I'll note that Becky Reinhardt of Sales Community Development is here tonight as well, able to answer questions as the prospective redeveloper. And Zach Wilson, the Vice President of Incentives with the St. Louis Development Corporation, is here representing Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority, which submitted the redevelopment plan to the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you. I'll first recognize Zach. You're online, Zach?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. El Surrey is very supportive of the project because it helps keep affordability in Fox Park, Tar Grove East, and Ben Park West, where we've seen increase in rents and property values. So be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Just stand by with that. We invite Becky Reinhardt. Come forward if you have any comments or statements at this time. And identify yourself for the.
Yes, thank you. I'm Becky Reinhardt. I'm the Executive Director of the Sales Community Development. Thank you for having me. And thank you to Zach and Miriam for sharing information about the development. As Miriam shared, this is a 71 unit affordable housing development in Fox Park, Tower Grove East, and Benton Park West. It would preserve existing affordable housing that DeSales originally rehabbed using the low-income housing tax credit between the early 90s and early 2000s. And these properties are really in need of a refresh from, the roof to the top pointing to the interiors of the apartments to preserve them and to preserve that affordability in the neighborhood. We will also be increasing affordability by making 15% of the units will go from being affordable at 60% area median income to 30% area median income. So very excited about the project and happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll begin with Alderman Cone. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am very familiar with the project and also with the developer here that's before us. They do a lot of wonderful work throughout our city, and very much commend their efforts here and maintaining affordable quality housing within our city. So no questions, but more just comments and accolades. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
I'll just echo my colleagues' comments and accolades. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Boaz.
No questions. I also echo their comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Bradley.
Great project, no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Carmenia.
Just one question, and again, this looks like a great project. Is the designation of blight necessary for the tax abatement?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. That's all.
application.
We can't hear the main room.
Oh, can you not hear me right now?
No.
Just bear with us a moment. We're making a quick technical adjustment. Were you able to hear Commissioner Young's question, or that just not the
No.
response?
I thought you guys
We-
were stunned into silence by my one question.
Oh,
And I could hear her fine when she asked if we could hear her, but I couldn't hear her before that, so I don't know why that is.
Can you hear us now?
Very faintly.
Yes.
I guess if we speak more loudly, is this any better?
I can hear you
Yes,
now, Miriam.
heard you just fine.
Okay, I'm gonna try again. This is Becky, with the sales, and Grace had asked what the timeline for our project will be, because we were not awarded low-income housing tax credits in this year's round. So we will reapply next year in September. We anticipate decisions will be announced again in December of next year, and we'll proceed accordingly. But in the meantime, we'll continue to own and operate these properties as we have.
Thank you. Good project.
Commissioner Williams, any questions?
No questions.
Affordable housing goes from at 15%, from 60% down to 30%, correct? I applaud that, because that's not the norm of what we expect, so I appreciate that move. And again, I echo everybody's comments at this point, a great project. Do you know what your reinvestment dollar is gonna be? Do you have
Our reinvestment dollar?
your rehab costs, or what do you?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me, but we do have an estimate. I've been having too many numbers in my head, and I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay. With that, I would invite Miriam to come back and offer the recommendation from staff.
So, staff finds that the redevelopment area is found to be declared as blighted, and the proposed redevelopment plan in conformity with the neighborhood preservation area of the city's strategic land use plan, and we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved, Alderman Cone.
Commissioner Cone, with that, call for vote.
Previous roll.
Call for previous roll. Hearing any objections? Hearing no objections, it passes with previous roll. Thank you very much. And as we said, we're all looking forward to that project. With that, Miriam, you're up again.
And final item, agenda item number 5 is another chapter 99 redevelopment plan and blighting study submitted to us by LCRA. Just finding the spot in my notes here. Okay. So for just a quick overview, this redevelopment plan is for about 2.8 acres in the Midtown neighborhood, right at that northwest corner of Jefferson Avenue and Market Street. And I'll talk more about the area in a little bit. No use of eminent domain proposed by this redevelopment plan. The plan would provide for 10 years of tax abatement at 75% of the assessed value of incremental improvements, and calls for development of the redevelopment area into commercial uses, primarily including hotel, but also with a restaurant component. Next slide, please. And also structured parking, excuse me. So currently the site here is vacant following the demolition of 2 former Wells Fargo office buildings that were in the area. It does lie within a preservation review district. The demolition itself was subject to preservation board review and approval under those rules. And as I mentioned, the redevelopment plan seeks to facilitate redevelopment into a mix primarily of hotel, but also restaurant and structured parking. Next slide.
So here's a little bit about this area. This site is actually right at the intersection of the planned Brickline Greenway that runs along Market Street and the proposed, again, north-south Natural Link expansion project along Jefferson, a potential station right at this intersection. And we're just a couple blocks west of City Park soccer stadium. So a real interesting location at the intersection of some major kind of planned and potential infrastructure investments. Next slide. Looking at the strategic land use plan, we find this is a especially mixed use area, which calls for a unique mix of uses, kind of like the mix of uses you would find downtown, preserve and develop this mix of uses. And this area is sort of at that hinge between some more business and industrial preservation and development area to the southwest, and especially mixed use area in the central corridor in Midtown here, and then moving east into downtown west and downtown St. Louis. Next slide. Also wanted to highlight the planned Brickline Greenway on Market Street. So you can see this is, of course, just a very preliminary design, but wanted to show this redevelopment area's relationship to this proposed greenway as part of the planning context here. Next slide. And then a quick tour of the site, pictures taken within the last week or so by PDA staff. So here you see the subject site facing north from Market Street. Next slide. And then facing kind of northwest from the sidewalk right in front of the property or the redevelopment area. Next slide. And a little bit of the context. So facing east down Market Street, you can see the Union Station Ferris wheel and arch in the background. Next slide. Facing south from the subject site, kind of down Jefferson Avenue. Next slide. Facing west down Market, you can see some of the conditions on the property here at that edge. Next slide. And that concludes my presentation. Want to recognize members of the development team represented by Steadfast City, who are here to help answer questions tonight, as well as a representative from Midas Development Group to answer questions about, from the perspective redeveloper here, but also Zach Wilson on the line representing SLDC and LCRA submitted the redevelopment plan to us. And it's kind of a quick, I suppose, reminder that the redevelopment plan itself does not name a prospective developer, but of course, when there is a prospective developer, we invite them to answer questions, but the redevelopment plan itself not tied to a particular development team. A developer is designated later in the process by LCRA.
Okay. Thank you very much. With that, I'll acknowledge Zach. And Zach, if there's anything you want to present at this time, please do so.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of echo what Miriam just stated. This would have to still go through the Board of Aldermen to find blight for this location. The redevelopment plan stays with the parcel no matter who the developer is. So we are recommending for this area and this site up to 10 years at 75%. We scored this project, but if another project comes along in the future, we'd score that too. Any project here would be, well, this project by itself would be a very beneficial fiscal benefit to the city. Since we are mainly focusing on economic blight at this location. Before it was a vacant lot, it was a vacant building for many, many years that Wells Fargo did not use. We saw several developers look at this before, so we're very eager to get this site activated moving forward. So be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, Salem Meehan and Andrea Moss are both with prospective development teams, so there's no questions at this time. I mean, no statements for them to make at this time, but I will call for questions from the commissioners, beginning with Alderman Cone.
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
I don't have any questions at this time.
Commissioner Boaz,
No questions.
thank you, Commissioner Bradley,
No questions.
Commissioner Garmedia.
Yes, I have a question. Could the SLDC or member of the planning staff explain again, in part for the public, just like why the site is blighted when the person that, you know, it's only vacant because the buildings were demolished last year. And so like what about just a vacant parcel deserves the status of blighted?
I understand the one of the conditions we can find blight is economic blight. What parcels bring into the city. The parcel currently as used is not bringing type of maximize revenue to the city. And before it was torn down, it was not a building occupied also. So that was not maximizing the economic benefit to the city before that also. So either now or before it was demolished was not receiving the maximum benefit the city can receive from a parcel of that size at that location. So that's helpful. Did that help? Okay, perfect.
Any other questions, Commissioner Garmedia?
No, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Young,
No questions.
Commissioner Williams?
No question.
The chair has no questions. With that, I invite Miriam back to the podium to review the recommendation of staff.
So we do find the 2601 Market Street redevelopment area to be declared as blighted and the proposed redevelopment plan in conformity with that specialty mixed use area designation within the strategic land use plan and recommend approval of the proposed redevelopment plan.
Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Clark Hubbard, second by Commissioner Young. Call for vote.
Previous roll.
Call for previous roll. Hear any objections? Hearing no objections, passes with previous roll. Thank you very much for that. Those are our three action items. At this point, I invite Don to make his executive director statements or report.
Thank you. I'll be brief. One,
Can they hear? I want to know that they can hear you. Thank you.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I didn't hear any applause back. I'll be brief. But, I want to say one thing in particular about the sloop process. It's going well. The consultants are very much engaged. They get it and understand it each time they come more and more. So it's going to be a very productive journey with them to a high quality product. Miriam is just doing a fantastic job. Many days are quite absorbed by this project. So I want to acknowledge that. The other thing I just want to bring up is I sent a note around just as a preview of coming attractions because we have some new planning commission members. I suspect, don't guarantee, don't wish it upon ourselves, but there are actions regarding some demolition permits that, as the planning commission knows, that have been for a while. There is a process where they exhaust all their, meaning a prospective developer or owner of a building asking for it to be demolished, and it needs to go through a cultural resources review. That review is a staff level review, then it's a preservation board review. There are certain cases where a developer or owner feels that they were denied that demolition and goes to a next step, a pretty rare step, where they ask the planning commission to uptake a review of the demolition. Over our 20 years, we've probably done just under 20 of those coming to us. We have a two-step process for them. I won't go into that. One of us is just accepting whether we do it. The other is sort of adjudicating it, would be then the last item from the city. And the planning commission really uses just the record of what had happened, but they have three choices: to overturn the finding, the denial of the preservation board, uphold it, or modify it in some way. I will say during our ones that we have dealt with, we've done all those things, including the modification, and some have gone to court and we've won, or been upheld, and some not so. But anyway, just a preview that may be coming in some form or fashion by demolitions that are being considered this fall that might come to us in the next year. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Don. With that, a couple of shared notes I want to make. First off, there is new technology in place in the room, and hopefully it is providing much more clarity online and for the commissioners not present. So congratulations on that. And as I close on this, first I want to thank our community and our partners such as Mary Hart and Zach Wilson and the community that has been involved with us this year. Thank you for that and your participation. The citizens of St. Louis are very thankful for that. To the commissioners, each of you in your space, thank you for your service and your commitment and your volunteerism, because your pay of free 99 is really acknowledged well with that. But thank you for your sacrifice this year. All to the staff, to Don, Miriam, David, Jonathan, Michelle, who else did I miss? Am I missing somebody? Michael, whoever I didn't call, charge it to my head, not my heart and my ink. I wish you all the best for holidays also. On behalf of the Planning Commission, I want to say each of you happy holidays, no matter how you celebrate them, be it Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is, just a blessed holiday. And may this year, for the first year, really be peace on earth through all the wars and everything going on. And my dear friend, Commissioner Clark Hubbard just put me on the spot. And I wish everybody a blessed holiday to you and your family, and may you find love and care in that. With that, I'll entertain a motion to just close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Boy, the fastest motions I've ever heard. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.